Have you heard about the greatest wealth transfer that is in front of us? And no, I am not talking about a housing crash. I am talking about the baby boomers eventually passing on somewhere between 80 trillion and in one report I saw as high as 124 trillion dollars in wealth to the next generation. Now, this is obviously not going to happen overnight. This is something that will likely take two, perhaps even 3 decades. But one of the things that I was thinking about was, let's just assume for a minute that the wealth transfer is going to be on the tune of $100 trillion. Makes the math a lot easier. One of the things that could frankly help with our national debt is for the government to reach out their big sticky hands and take a larger portion of this wealth as it is transferred. Again, if we assume that there is $100 trillion in wealth transferred, who's to say the government doesn't find a way in the next 2 or 3 decades to say, hey, give me 10% of that. And if they did, again, $10 trillion, that would take about 25% of our national debt off the books, right? National debt today, last I saw, was $38 trillion and seemingly increasing at ever faster and faster speeds. Anyways, the reason I thought about this is eventually this debt will have to be dealt with. Inflation, cut expenses, AKA more taxes. My guess is it will be inflated away and some more taxes, because you and I both know there's not a politician alive that doesn't like to spend our money. Anyways, interesting stuff. Don't know if you've seen what's going on in Japan, but yesterday the Japanese, or AKA the yen carry trade, seems to be in trouble. Their 2-year notes are up, their 10-year notes are up, and as the yield gets closer and closer, you're seeing liquidity sucked out of the system. Don't know if you've seen Bitcoin this morning, but last I checked, it was down $6,000. I think I checked it was below 85,000 after bouncing off the bottom of 80 and then going to 90. It's now down 6,000. I suspect we will hear about levered long positions once again completely wiped out. Folks, if you're buying crypto, would you please own your coins and stop being stupid? I can't imagine the amount of leverage that you guys keep putting in the system and you keep getting wrecked. It's maybe once, shame on the market, but when you get wrecked 2 or 3 times, that's supposed to be a learning lesson. Learn the lesson and move on. I don't know if you saw it this morning, but Intel popped, and I didn't know why. But reading out in the blogosphere, it looks like there might be a rumored Apple deal. Now, again, completely a rumor. Only found that on one site, but something has to explain a large jump in Intel. And hey, a deal with Apple makes a lot of sense to me. Reading more and more about millionaires, this time 401k millionaires. Did you know, or would you be surprised, that in 2022, we had 261,000 401k millionaires? Now, this is all according to Fidelity. Fidelity is the source of this. And if you fast forward 3 years, we now have more than doubled that to 654,000. Obviously, the stock market has had a great 3-year run. 2 years back to back over 20%. And I think right now we are up 13 or 14%. So, hey, 3-year run, you now have 654,000 401k millionaires. Don't know if you've seen this, but alcohol usage is down. Folks, that's good news. We're getting healthy. We're also getting a lot less crazy stories, obviously. But alcohol use is down 54%. It is the lowest in 90 years. This, according to Gallup poll. And then I don't know if you saw this also, China factory activity has unexpectedly contracted in November. Is this more signs of tariff? Is this sign that China, the manufacturing hub of the world, is no longer? Or is this just another sign that consumers are tapped out? Again, yen carry trade, read a lot about it. It seems to be in trouble. Again, this took the market down. What was that? 3, 4, 5 months ago. It has not gone away. There's still plenty of leverage in the system. And yes, the yen carry trade seems to be sucking liquidity from risk on assets. I read some interesting articles about net worth, and I went ahead and created my own version for passive income because a couple of you have pointed out, Michael, why do you talk about net worth when you care about cash flow or passive or semi-passive income? And first off, you're absolutely right. Unfortunately, financial magazines don't write about that because there's not a lot of us out there. They love to focus on net worth. It's a big number, gets people to click. So this was an article I read. If your net worth is $750K, you are comfortable. If your net worth is $1 million, you're rich. If your net worth is $1.5 million, you are semi-wealthy. And finally, set for life, $2.2 million. Now, obviously, this needs some context. We don't know where these people are living. We don't know how old they are. But again, hey, it's one person's view of net worth. So I went ahead and said, okay, great. If we take those levels and then we turn it into what I care about, what would those be? Here we go. So as you know, I want you to understand how much your life costs. What are your monthly expenses? Food, rent, auto, insurance, entertainment, yada, yada, yada. You know the drill. So you are comfortable at 1x. So we'll use an example of $5,000 a month. You are comfortable if your passive income is $5K a month, right? Rentals, book sales, whatever it is. Again, you're probably not retired because you don't retire at 1x because surprises happen. But hey, you are comfortable at 1x. At 2x, you are rich. So in this case, your passive or semi-passive income would be $10,000 if you want to carry the example forward. At 3x, you are semi-wealthy. So again, in this example, your passive income is $15,000. Again, we're assuming you have a $5,000 a month spend, and then you can adjust accordingly. And then finally, if you want the set for life number, you need to be at 4x. 4x, so that would be $20,000 in this example. Hello, Dion from Dion Financial Freedom. I believe he is at or very near that number. So again, that is turning the logic of net worth into some passive income for our community. Scott Bessent is all over news talking about a December rate cut. He thinks the Fed's leaning that way, to which I say, hold on. We got Jerome Powell speaking this evening, and he could screw this up. He could definitely screw it up. I heard about this yesterday in a comment when we talked about silver running away. Somebody left this as a comment, and I had not heard this, but I went out and verified it because it sounded so crazy. But apparently on Friday, the CME had to stop trading because of cooling issues in one of their data centers. Wow. Friday was a half day. And you have cooling issues on a half day? Call me suspicious, but something seems hinky. Not only is Bitcoin down a bunch today, but the 10-year note is up big today. Last I checked, it was up 6 basis points, which is quite a move. For those of you watching AI models, a company called Runway rolled out a new AI model that generates high-definition videos based on written prompts. I'm curious if anybody out there has used it. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Again, Runway rolls out new AI model. What else do we got? Oh, let's congratulate some people for joining school. I want to thank Jeremy and Alyssa. Thank you for joining school. Make sure you introduce yourself, find your accountability group, your education, whatever you like. But yes, we will welcome you there with open arms. And folks, it is December 1st. December 1st, you got 1 month left. I know a lot of you are interested in buying properties, getting wealthy. Maybe something you could do for yourself is join school like Jeremy and Alyssa. again, get in communities, get in the right rooms, get around the right people, and ask questions, network, be a good person, and you will go a long way. Looks like Kevin Hassett is the runaway market favorite to be the next Fed chair. If you don't know anything about him, he is a growth-first economist. He definitely leans on cheap rates. This is before he was a part of the Fed or will be a part of the Fed. This is just what he has always pushed for. Growth first, cheap capital, and let the Fed expand, aka let the balance sheet grow, aka money printer on. Shopify reported some numbers and said that at the high, Shopify merchants were doing $5.1 million per minute over Black Friday and Saturday. We will get the Cyber Monday stuff today. Also, last thing I read this today or this weekend is that we will likely get the Fed nominee for Jerome Powell's replacement before Christmas. And again, remember, Kevin Hassett is the current front runner for that. Folks, at the end of the day, I hope you have an amazing day. Remember, if you are a landlord, you need to be getting the best and cheapest insurance. Steadily is the name of the game. They sponsor the daily financial news. I sent them another house yesterday as I got a ridiculous quote from my existing insurance. So we will see where that goes. My insurance went up roughly 50%. So I'm going to Steadily to see if they can help me. We shall find out. Again, folks, join school. It's there on the screen, school.com/ORaaT. Don't forget to buy your tickets to our event. Time is running out. TikTok. I know you want to come. Buy your tickets, less than 100 there. Get your flights, get your hotel. We'll see you in Vegas for President's Day weekend. Folks, have a great day. Take care of yourself. Tomorrow, tune in, 7:30 a.m. Pacific. Have a great day. Later.